The topic last week is just an example of how we can connect the Brit Hadashah and the Tanakh together. Yeshua, Paul, John, and Peter, many other followers of the way, was just addressing the issues and correcting behaviors by using Yehovah's instructions in the Torah. So should we. Let us learn from the wisdom and the knowledge from the Torah. Welcome to Reconcile the Kingdom, where we're working towards becoming a harmony of the whole word of truth. My name is Patrice Robinson, and as always, I appreciate you coming by here on today. We're going to go over the significant events of Leviticus chapters 19 through 21. Chapter 19. Yehovah is calling his people into holiness because he is holy, and he begins to reiterate a few of his instructions that he's spoken before. I tell you, when Yehovah repeats himself, that is time for us to take notes of things. He addresses respecting your parents. He also, again, talked about keeping his Sabbath, guarding and keeping his commandments. Stay away from divination. No body cutting, no hair cutting, and no tattoos, because this is what the pagan people would do when they are worshiping their gods. And that's just a few things from out of chapter 19. Chapter 20. Yehovah is telling people not to give their children as a human sacrifice to Moloch. This was very common in those days. The people that did this was to be stoned. Again, his instruction is to stay away from mediums and fortune tellers. This is considered prostituting yourself. The Father speaks of not engaging with mediums and wizards and divination and other black magics and many different things many times throughout the Torah. I think he is trying to tell us something. Don't do it. He continues with forbidding certain sexual relations. I find verse number 11 interesting because it brought me back into my mind of Noah's story. He continues to remind you, do not do other sexual sins. He also reminds them how to treat clean and unclean animals in chapter 20. Chapter 21. Yehovah is teaching Moses on how the priest should behave. He addresses not making oneself unclean by touching dead bodies unless it's certain family members. He tells the priests about shaving their head and shaving their beards and their bodies like many of the pagan followers would do during their mourning. The priest and the high priest regulations for marriage was addressed in this chapter. There are details of who can be priests out of Aaron's descendants because they had to be without specific blemishes. So today's focus is on eunuchs. According to chapter 21:20 of Leviticus, anyone that was a eunuch was not allowed to be a priest. They had a blemish. There was something that was wrong with them. And they were not allowed to offer any offerings. They could not enter in the most holy place. They couldn't go near the altar. Basically, they had to stay out of the tabernacle. But things changed. If you read Isaiah chapter 56, verses 4 through 5, I'm going to read it for you. For thus said the Lord unto the eunuchs that keep my Sabbaths and choose the things that please me and take hold of my covenant, even unto them what I give in my house and within my walls a place and a name better than of sons and of daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. We find that again, Isaiah 56 verses 4 through 5. And we actually see this coming into play when we read about Philip and the eunuch. Philip appeared to a eunuch who was trying to study Isaiah 53 verses 7 through 8. And he wanted to know who was this prophet Isaiah was talking about. And he wanted Philip to help him, who was he referring to? And Philip was able to share the gospel. And the eunuch was able to join into the faith. And we will find that in Acts chapter 8 verses 26 through 40. Praise Jehovah for his mercy and his grace. Join me as we begin our new journey through What Does the Bible Say? And the first book that we're going to take this journey through is the book of Esther. And there will be an upload every Friday and every Saturday at 10 a.m. regarding What Does the Bible Say? The book of Esther. And then I will see you on Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. for Leviticus chapters 22 through 24. As always, man does not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yehovah. Thank you for watching and have a blessed rest of the week. Thank you.